What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with some gaming commentary, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a campaign story review of Halo 5. Just a quick disclaimer, this is going to have some major spoilers in it, so if you guys haven't played the game yet, if you still want to see some of the story stuff unfold in the actual game, you might want to wait to watch this till after you've gone through and played, or if you don't care, you can still watch the video. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up right away so you'll know what is going to be coming in the video. The other thing I wanted to say is I unfortunately do not have any Halo 5 gameplay because I have not yet bought the game. I actually played the game at a friend's house. He lives across town, and he actually was over there the other day just hanging out. And he's like, "Oh, I got Halo 5, if you want to run through it." And so we ended up playing pretty much the entire campaign. So I've had pretty good experience with it, been playing it for a couple days over at his house. Unfortunately, it's just kind of difficult to get my capture card and all that set up, and I don't know if his wife would appreciate me setting up all my computer stuff in the living room and trying to get gameplay capture. So until I can figure out how to do that right now, I just don't have any Halo 5 gameplay. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be buying the game yet. Obviously, a lot of you guys know I'm still looking to find gainful employment. I do have a part-time job, but that's not making too much money, and I can't really afford to spend money on games right now. So either way, I did get to spend a lot of time with the campaign. Unfortunately, I have not played the multiplayer that much yet, so I'm not going to be commentating on that until I get a chance to play that a little bit more in depth. But so far, I'm seeing pretty good things about that all over the internet and some of the Waypoint forums and things. So I think the multiplayer is doing pretty solid. Haven't seen any major problems or bugs being announced yet. But this video is going to be all about the campaign, about the story of Halo 5 and the direction Halo is kind of going in. I'm going to talk about the characters. I'm going to talk about First off, I'm going to talk about the gameplay, the mechanics and things, talk about what I liked, what I didn't like so much. There's good and bad here. Overall, Halo 5 was a pretty solid game for the most part, but there are some things here and there and some minor annoyances that I had with a couple things. But so right away, let's get started here. We're just going to go into I'm going to start with the gameplay, mechanics, and whatnot first, and then we'll get into some of the story and other things. Felt like the game played pretty smooth. The 60 frames per second was definitely noticeable. It played very good in the movement department. Your Spartans are a little bit more mobile now. You do have the jump thrusters and the ability to mantle on objects and fully sprint around all the time if you want as well. You've got some new moves like the shoulder charge, melee attack, and other things like that. So they've definitely changed around the way the Spartans tend to move. This is good and also kind of a little bit in a way because I don't know, the mantling just felt a little clumsy. It's like they hadn't quite mastered that yet, but overall movement system's not bad. I think part of the problem is I'm just so used to playing Destiny and Titanfall, which are, despite the fact they're both very disappointing games, I felt mechanics and movement-wise in those games, you had just some of the most solid movement of any shooter type game. Titanfall, the movement was great. I love the transitioning when you're mantling and going to parkour and everything. I felt like Titanfall really nailed it with the movement system. Destiny is also very good with the movement system, with the vertical combat and the way you can, jump and everything. And so all the other first-person shooter games, and I've played since playing both of those games, really just don't feel like they compare in the mechanic department. It feels like you're a little bit more sluggish. You're playing like you're running in mud almost. Like it's not, you can't move as quickly. You don't feel as smooth. Although, like I said, Halo 5 is very smooth playing at 60 frames per second. It's still a little bit lacking in the mechanic department compared to some other shooters out there. Gunplay was pretty good. I wasn't a huge fan of some of the gun sounds. It seems like the gunplay, though, is your typical Halo, FPS. It's pretty solid, pretty good hit detection, pretty good variety of weapons. Unfortunately, not a whole lot better than Halo 4 in terms of the new weapon variety. There's really just not a whole lot there. It's your typical, UNSC and Covenant Forerunner type weapons and things. Graphics were a bit of a surprise. I was really kind of shocked at this game because, we've heard so much about how this was going to be the next gen Halo. They weren't making it for the Xbox 360 because they said the old gen would hold it back and they wouldn't be able to get 60 frames per second for the game. Looking at it now, I don't know if it was really worth the sacrifice for that for the people who can't play on Xbox One who are still on 360. Because quite honestly, the graphics in Halo 5, when you're in the actual gameplay, I don't really find them to be much better than Halo 4 on the 360. I don't think it's a massive improvement at all. On the Xbox One especially, I just don't see they haven't taken advantage of the hardware yet. It doesn't seem like it in terms of the graphics. Now the cutscenes look absolutely amazing. The cutscenes are really, really good. They look very lifelike, and they did a great job with those. And that's one of the things 343 has really done very well with since they took over Halo. They're like their CGI, their live action, whatever it is. They do an amazing job with the cutscenes in all their games. Halo 4's cutscenes looked really, really good. Halo 5's cutscenes look 100 times better. They look amazing. They look very lifelike. The Spartans look really good and everything. So the cutscenes were great. Thought they were great. Actual in-game graphics, not so much. I thought they were, pretty run-of-the-mill for what we've seen so far in this so-called next gen. It wasn't anything that blew my mind. There's still much better-looking games out there, I think, compared to Halo 5. The environments are a little bit brighter this time. The Spartan details are okay, but there were some things in the background, like when you run into some NPCs, some of them don't look very good. Some of them are a little blurry, and I don't know. Just overall, the graphics felt like a bit of a letdown. I was expecting a lot more from a completely new generation title that wasn't on both systems, so that was a bit of a letdown in that department. Your squad AI is also pretty stupid. We played on Legendary, actually. We played all the way through on Legendary difficulty. And I think this, honestly, I don't know if 343 is intentionally dumbing Halo down from past Halos, but this felt like the easiest Halo to date. I couldn't imagine playing this on normal, because even on Legendary, the campaign did not seem all that difficult. You've got some, like that new Spartan Heavy Melee where you just smash through people with the shoulder charge. You can just do that to elites and other enemies, and you never really feel challenged that much, especially with the squad mechanics now where your squad can revive you. There's really no penalty to dying. Like in the old Halo games, if you died before you reached a checkpoint, you got sent back to where you were before, and you had to replay through everything else. That could get really frustrating, but it could also be very challenging. And you had that kind of fear of I don't want to die here. I've made it so far, and if I die, I got to start over again. That's really not here in this Halo. The squad-based combat has really made it to the point where the game's a lot easier now. Even though your AI companions are not very good, they're pretty bad in terms of getting around to revive you. They get stuck on objects all the time. They don't move around very smartly. The game is definitely going to be better if you can play it with actual human beings behind the controller, and I could see where that would be a lot of fun. It was pretty cool with the two of us playing the campaign. I can imagine it would be a lot of fun with 4 people if you could play it that way, and everybody could control one of the characters. This game would actually probably be really, really easy if you had that, because with 4 human beings, if you can communicate with mics and everything, you would absolutely just demolish this campaign, I'm pretty sure, even on Legendary. Like I said, we played through on Legendary. Didn't really have much difficulty with it. I didn't think it was much of a problem. And this is actually the first Halo I've beat on Legendary. Although the other ones have just been, I've been trying to do them single player. They've just been really difficult. I've beaten, the majority of the stages on Legendary, but not the whole games, as they tend to get pretty hard towards the end. But like I said, this felt like the easiest Halo, and I don't know if they're just trying to dumb it down and make Halo more casual to appeal to more people. And I don't like to use that term a lot because, I consider myself a semi-casual. I'm a little bit higher. I probably play games more than a casual player, but at the same time, I don't like to make fun of those people or use a derogatory term to describe them. But the other Halo games that have come out before this, if you were more of a casual player, didn't want the challenge, you could play on easy, you could play on normal, and those are still pretty beatable for you. And if you really, really wanted that hardcore challenge, then you could take it up to Legendary. Especially with like Halo Reach, Halo 2, Halo 3, some of the later Halo games that Bungie did were just really, really good. And that's part of my problem with 343 is they just don't seem to have a handle on what the feeling of a Halo game is. They just, I don't know, they haven't been able to capture that yet. In this, like I said, this campaign, it was even easier than Halo 4, which I didn't think Halo 4 was that difficult in terms of beating the game all the way through. But so that's one little minor gripe I did have, was it just didn't seem like much of a challenge even on the Legendary part of the game. So that's the basic gameplay mechanics. I don't want to spend too long harping on that, but let's get into the characters and the story now. A lot of people are probably really interested in the narrative and if it was really good. They do take the plot in a kind of an interesting direction. I like it, but at the same time, there's some problems I have with it because I feel like it's just almost too cookie cutter these days for what a lot of games are doing. And there's going to be some really big spoilers in this part, guys. So again, if you do not want to know what happens, you probably should not watch the rest of the video because I'm going to be going into a lot of character stuff, going over a lot of what happens with the plot. So first off, we're introduced to obviously Locke and his team. And they're going to go and try to rescue Dr. Halsey. Like we've seen a lot of that gameplay already before the game came out, and obviously that big trailer they did for Halo 5 with Locke and the team dropping down. Now, here's an area I was pleasantly surprised, because one of my big gripes in Halo 4, as you guys have heard me say several times, is how I did not care for the Spartan 4s and the way they were characterized. The Spartan 4s just did not feel like Spartans. They felt like a bunch of annoying little teenagers playing Spartan, and didn't care for a lot of their personalities, didn't care for their attitudes. And through watching the Halo TV series they did before Halo 5, I was not a huge fan of Locke. I didn't think he was a great character. I was really kind of concerned about how he was going to be in this game. Well, I will tell you, I was very pleasantly surprised. 343 did a really, really good job on the characters in this game. The Spartan 4s, the Spartans that are not Master Chief or his blue team, are really, really good. They act more like Spartans. They do talk a little bit more, but they come up with strategies and talk as a team. But character-wise, they're all very well done. They're more of that serious, stoic Spartan attitude. It's like they feel more like Spartans than they did in Halo 4. And of course, you do have Buck, who's back from ODST. He's now Spartan, and Buck again steals the show. He's a great, great character. A lot of that obviously has to do with Nathan Fillion, who I think is an incredible voice actor. Even in Destiny, when he did Kate 6, he did an amazing job. He catches that roguish, like Han Solo, he's just a great, great smart-ass character, and Buck really added a lot of that into Fireteam Osiris and gave them a little bit more personality, even though Vale and Tanaka were both pretty good characters. And on a side note, I do love how the one female Spartan has the suit that makes her look like Samus from Metroid. I thought that was pretty cool. But overall, it was very refreshing to see that, and I enjoyed Locke in this game. I thought he was a good character, and I was concerned about that leading up to the game, but they did a fantastic job developing him in this. And you actually see he doesn't really have animosity towards Master Chief. He even tells Buck at one point in the cutscene, he tells Buck that, Master Chief's, you're not the only one who joined because of Master Chief, and you kind of see that Locke, in a way, almost looks up to Master Chief, and that's evident throughout certain cutscenes as well in the game. And that's one thing where 343 is catching a little flack for right now, is the marketing for this game was pretty misleading. And this was really not about hunting Master Chief down. It really wasn't about Locke versus Chief. There's really not a whole lot of that, save for one pretty epic cutscene in the game. It's basically just them all trying to figure out what's going on, and by the end of the game, they wind up teaming up together. And there's a lot of respect from Locke to Master Chief and Blue Team, and from Team Osiris to Blue Team. And Buck even makes some comments about that in one of the cutscenes about, everybody's going to hate us because we're going after Master Chief. And, there's a lot of respect there, which is something that was, if you go by the marketing for Halo 5, that really wasn't what they were going on with the theme. But great job with the characters, and even Sarah Palmer, who I thought was a total bitch in Halo 4. I just did not like her at all, and I felt like they completely wasted Jennifer Hale's voice acting in Halo 4. She has got a great personality in Halo 5. They've really done a really good job with her. They took advantage of Jennifer Hale's talents, and Commander Palmer's actually a somewhat likable character in this Halo. She's a lot less of a bitch, to be honest, and she seems more like someone capable of leading a squad of Spartans, whereas in Halo 4, I really just didn't. I found her to be too cocky and just really aggravating as a character, and so they really gave her a bit of a makeover for Halo 4, or Halo 5, I'm sorry. So that was really refreshing to see. You get into Blue Team. Now, I will tell you guys, honestly, you're not going to be playing as Master Chief and Blue Team much in this game. This game is really a lot like Halo 2, where you're switching back and forth. You mostly will play the campaign as Fireteam Osiris and Locke and his teammates. Blue Team does not get a whole lot of time. Master Chief does not get a whole lot of time besides some of the cutscenes. And that is something that may not sit well with some people. I actually found it pretty refreshing, because the way I look at it is one of the annoyances some people might also have with this game is really setting up Halo 6. This is a lot like Halo 2, where they kind of give you the cliffhanger at the end. The game is like a pretty good game, but at the end you kind of feel a little let down, like you wanted more. Halo 5 is a lot like that, and some people are probably going to be upset by that. But they are setting up Halo 6 here. I think they're setting up Locke and Team Osiris as a little bit of the future of Halo. After the events in Halo 5, I could probably see Master Chief finally biting the bullet, dying, so to speak, in Halo 6, because I think that's what it's coming to, but we will definitely see what happens. So, Blue Team does not get a lot of development. I've seen a lot of reviewers saying that's a problem and that's a big deal. I honestly didn't have a big deal with that, because I'm a diehard Halo fan. I've been paying attention to Halo since Combat Evolved came out, so I've been with this franchise for a very long time. And the thing is, if you're any kind of knowledgeable diehard Halo fan, then you already know all about Blue Team. You know, everybody's like, oh, the reviewers are like, well, we don't know why Blue Team's so loyal to Chief and why they're following. Well, if you know had read the books and paid attention to some of the terminals and watched the animes and just there was a comic book series that came out before Halo 5. It's pretty well explained. You know, Chief and Blue Team go way back, especially with Cortana. They did a lot of ops together. They're almost like a family with the Spartan 2s, some of the last surviving Spartan 2s. So I didn't really feel like that was a problem in the game because I think most people, you know, Halo is one of those AAA, even though it's a AAA game, it's a very kind of niche game where a lot of people that are staying with Halo are the people that have been with the franchise for a long time. And I think most of us already know about Blue Team. We didn't need 343 to hold our hand and tell us, you know, all about that. And there's still some pretty decent development for them. It's not amazing. It's not anywhere near what Fireteam Osiris's was, but of course 343 I believe is trying to build up Fireteam Osiris as the future sort of characters and heroes of the Halo franchise. So overall, though, really great job with the main characters. I didn't feel like anybody was left out. I felt like they were able to handle the screen time and the development for everybody really well. And one thing I was really happy about too is Master Chief, despite not having you know much in this game, he does get quite a bit of development, I thought, for his own personal character. I always felt in the Halo games that Master Chief was an interesting character because of his connection and because of Cortana always being there with him. I felt the two of them combined to make a pretty good character, and you know I always used to call him Cardboard Chief because I didn't think Master Chief by himself was all that interesting. That changes quite a bit in Halo 5 because you know, they start off at the beginning of the game. Blue Team is actually on an operation to recover a ship, and during that operation, Master Chief he falls down a long corridor after he gets ambushed by a hunter, and he has a vision where he sees Cortana, and she tells him to come to this planet. And of course, Chief is like, "Oh my God, we got to go rescue Cortana," and that's pretty much what happens with the plot of the game. Is they're going to go look for Cortana, and you know, Chief radios into Infinity, and he tells them, "Hey, we're going to go look for Cortana. We just got a message." And Captain Lasky tells him, no, you guys need to come back. We actually have a separate team going to handle that. So they actually already, Dr. Halsey, when she's rescued in the first mission by Fireteam Osiris, actually is already aware that Cortana is out there and what she's capable of doing. So they're trying to prevent Chief from actually going to find her, which I'll explain why in just a second. But so at first, Chief's kind of like, we got to go find Cortana. I'm thinking, oh, you know, God, Chief's going to fanboy over Cortana and just wants to go find her. So we have regular old, you know, Master Chief again. But it's funny because in this game, Cortana actually turns out to be one of the antagonists. And when she finds this out, instead of just blindly following her like a lot of people probably would have expected him to, Chief actually shows us his character a little bit because he remains sort of with humanity and he wants to protect humanity. And he knows that what Cortana wants to do is wrong in the overall scheme of things. And he actually tells her this. And he's kind of against her. And it was actually a very strong character development moment, I thought, for Master Chief, where he kind of stands on his own and he still has that backbone that's made him kind of such a badass through all the Halo campaign. And that's one of the reasons, you know, the Blue Team stays loyal to him and they trust him. And Master Chief comes through with that and shows us even at the end, you know, he's still, even though he misses Cortana and probably wants to get her back, he's not blinded by, you know, by just having ultimate faith in her. He actually still makes his own decisions. And I was very happy to see that. It was very refreshing to see that. So getting into the story a little bit, basically, like I said, they do find out that Cortana's still around. Well, this time it turns around that Cortana is not exactly friendly. She went into the Forerunner domain, and I kind of hinted at this when I was talking about Halo 5 earlier last year, or this year and earlier. I said, you know, 343 number 1, I think, is going to bring Cortana back just as a cop-out to some of the fans, because I know a lot of fans were really upset by the ending of Halo 4. Myself, personally, I enjoyed the ending of Halo 4. I thought it was really good. And I thought it would have been a good stopping point. They could have taken another direction with Chief in general. But they bring Cortana back, and they make her a little evil this time. And what happens is Cortana is going around, and she has this plan to bring peace to the galaxy. And her plan to bring peace to the galaxy is to go and get these Forerunner things called Guardians, which I feel like are a giant ripoff of the Reapers from Mass Effect. They even make sort of a similar sound, so it's kind of interesting. But she wants to pick up these Guardians, and she wants to use them to enforce galactic peace, basically. And her idea is that any society that's out of line is going to get whacked and going to get annihilated. And these Guardians, when she awakens them, they are basically annihilating the planets and the colonies that they're found on, and she's killing all these humans. And so she's trying to tell Chief that this is her plan, and it's a good plan, and they're going to bring peace to the galaxy, and Chief is like, well, no, because you're killing people and you're wiping everybody out. And she's like, well, these are the societies that aren't, they don't see eye to eye with us, and we're going to make sure anyone who's violent and anyone who is warlike and all this other stuff. And this, of course, that basically means humanity. So that's where Master Chief is conflicted because he wants to protect humanity. At the same time, he's trying to figure out what's going on with Cortana. And so the reason that Locke and Blue Team are chasing after Chief is because they're trying to stop him from. They're worried basically that Chief is so emotionally attached to Cortana that she's going to bring him into her fold and basically use him as an instrument against humanity, against the UNSC, and that's what they're mainly concerned with. So that's pretty much what happens is Locke and Fireteam Osiris are constantly following Chief throughout the game, trying to catch up to him, trying to stop him from aligning with Cortana. But at the same time, Chief is he kind of figuring out his own that he needs to stick with the UNSC and help them out. So at the end of it all, they wind up pretty much. There's a cutscene at the end of the game where basically Locke and Chief are working together, even though they don't do so in the game. It shows that pretty much Halo 6 is going to be everybody against Cortana. And I really felt like this is where I kind of had a couple of problems with the plot of the game, because this really felt almost like a rip-off a little bit of the Mass Effect series in terms of it's like, humans made the AI, and eventually the AI grows to the point where, oh, you know what? Humans are bad, and the galaxy's bad, and I'm the AI. I'm going to take over. I'm going to take over, become the Guardian, and enforce my rules and make everybody do things the way I want to, because that's going to be peaceful. And a lot of other games have done that plot too. It's a big plot in sci-fi. Obviously, we got Terminator. There's a lot of different shows, movies, games that have done this plot, and I feel like at this point it's so cliche, and the way they did it here, it really felt kind of bare bones and a little cliche. The way Cortana went with the whole, I'm going to destroy the universe to save it mentality. And especially for someone like her, there's a part in the game where she seems really hypocritical because she's basically bad-mouthing and talking down to the human characters, and talking about how they've wrought all this destruction on the galaxy and how she's going to stop that. And it's like, you probably had a little bit of a hand in that because you were always there helping humanity out, helping humanity develop technology. And you and Chief have killed how many countless Covenant and Forerunners and Flood and God knows what else, So I felt that she was a little hypocritical in her goals all of a sudden, and it's just like she was this power-hungry character. And Cortana was developed really well over 4 games as being sort of this sympathetic figure and being able to understand human emotion and humans. And of course, she's been made from human tissue from Dr. Halsey, from her brain tissue. But it's like she just throws all that out the window in Halo 5 and becomes just this, this evil mastermind. And it felt kind of forced. And the other main villain you'll come across as well is called the Warden. He's sort of a wannabe didact. He's this Forerunner guy, and he's constantly trying to get in your way. And he felt a lot like Harbinger in Mass Effect 2. Like, he never really felt like a threat. It's like, I'm just here to delay your progress and get meaningless boss fights with. And he just did not feel like a very good antagonist. I felt like in Halo 4, even though it wasn't my favorite Halo game, I thought they did a really good job with the didact. I thought he was a great villain for Chief to be squaring off with, someone who was believable, and he was a threat to Master Chief, and you were constantly trying to stop his plots in Halo 4. Halo 5, I just didn't get that feeling from it. It just felt, it just didn't feel like you had the connection there between what you were fighting for. And that's one of the big issues I have with the Halo 5 campaign and story in general, is it just felt kind of like they mailed it in a little bit. I also didn't think the soundtrack was that great. I felt like the soundtrack in Halo 4 was much better. I really think Halo needs Marty O'Donnell back, quite honestly. I did not find the soundtrack in Halo 5 very impressive. Halo 4, there were plenty of moments that were sort of emotional, and the music was very well done. The scenes between Chief and Cortana were very emotional, and I didn't really see much of that in this Halo 5. The only cutscene that really kind of got me going was where there's a part in the game where Team Osiris finally catches up with Blue Team, and Locke orders Chief to stand down. Well, Blue Team, Chief just nods and sends Blue Team through this teleporter that they're at. And then he's kind of standing there, and Locke's trying to talk him down, and Locke rocks right up to him and is kind of getting in his face, and Chief just knocks his gun out of his hand and starts beating the crap out of him. And then, of course, the one thing that was really impressive I liked was that they didn't, everybody, of course, is going to be a Master Chief fanboy, probably. That's one of the reasons I don't think anybody liked Locke leading up to this. And people want to see Chief just beat the crap out of Locke. Well, Fireteam Osiris is pretty impressive. They're newer Spartans. They have better tech. They're not quite as big and as strong and as powerful as the Spartan 2s, but they can still hold their own. And that's one of the things I liked here, is they let Locke hold his own in the fight with Master Chief, and they made it more believable. Of course, at the end, Chief walks off victorious because he's able to Locke is trying to put a suit device on him that will disable his suit and basically allow them to take him in. And Chief's able to reverse it and put the device on Locke, and then kind of walks off into the sunset. You know, is like I'm the badass. I won the fight. But I thought Locke represented himself well. I didn't think he was made to look like a weak character because it was a pretty good hand-to-hand fight between two Spartans that were very well trained, and I really enjoyed that bit of it. That's really the only cutscene though that really got my emotions kind of going. I didn't really feel any more attachment to any parts of the game. The ending is pretty cool when the Pelican flies down. Of course, at the end, Cortana, she escapes. She tries to trap Chief like the Didact and hold him for 10,000 years, and she claims she's going to show him that she can do it and make the galaxy a peaceful place. And so she kidnaps Chief, and then Locke and Fireteam Osiris manage to rescue him with the help of a monitor on this Genesis installation they go to. And the monitor is actually really cool. It's like 343 Guilty Spark all over again, but it's a female monitor, and it's pretty good. That was very refreshing. But so they managed to rescue Chief, and then at the very end, there's this kind of cool cutscene where they go down to St. Helios, and the Arbiter's there with Dr. Halsey and Commander Palmer. And this Pelican flies down, and the back door opens, and then Chief and Locke kind of walk out side by side. And it's kind of cool, and it kind of leaves the window open for Halo 6. So overall, the story was okay. I didn't think it was. I thought they lost a lot of points in my book because they just used this cliche, oh, the AI is evil and trying to take over the universe again. That's something that's being used way too much in video games, even in some other games, some of the fantasy RPGs I've seen. It's like one of the hero characters suddenly decides to turn evil and, oh, I'm just going to destroy the world to save it. And that whole mentality just, I don't know, it's being overplayed in a lot of these games. So those are my initial thoughts and kind of review of the Halo 5 story. I felt like they did miss a few things. Like there was a great chance in here to really talk about the elites and build up this St. Heli, and they have a few great moments here and there, but that's kind of left. Arbiter's not really in the game very much, and they kind of missed out, I thought, on a side story there they could have developed with going into the St. Heli Civil War and Arbiter still fighting with the Covenant. I felt like that would have made a really interesting story point, but they didn't spend too much time on that, so that was also a little bit of a letdown. But yeah, the main problem really, you just don't feel a connection really with the villains in the game. You don't really feel like, I don't know. It felt kind of weird. And the Warden, like I said, he's kind of a wannabe Didact. Didn't really feel like a great villain there. So, and of course, like I said, the cliffhanger ending with like Halo 2, where it's like they show at the end, Cortana's in a Guardian flying towards another Halo ring. So Halo 6 is obviously going to take place on a Halo ring, getting back to sort of more of, I guess, the Halo story, because Halo 4 and Halo 5, there was no Halo rings at all. So I guess they're getting back to that. But like I said, that's pretty much it, guys. The main takeaways I have is I actually did enjoy Fireteam Osiris. I thought they were some really great new characters to bring into the Halo universe, and I think they're probably going to wind up being the future of the game. Replayability-wise, I just don't see a whole lot of it with this campaign. There were some hidden items and things throughout you could go and find and search for if you want to go play through multiple times, but I just really felt the campaign was a little lackluster. I didn't really feel like it was worth going through. I'm seeing people saying this was like one of the best Halos ever made, but I don't really know if I feel that way about it. So those are my initial thoughts, though, and hopefully I'll get to spend some time with the multiplayer and let you guys know what I think about it, because I think the multiplayer ultimately is going to decide how long Halo 5 stays relevant. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like Halo 4 where it just vanishes all of a sudden. Halo 4 came out, was really strong at first, and then just kind of fell off the map because of 343 had some problems there, but I don't think the campaign is going to sustain the game. I think obviously the multiplayer is going to sustain the game, and we're going to see if Warzone holds up to that in the end of the bargain, and just overall how the multiplayer is. So hopefully, like I said, I'll get to spend some more time with that and get into it a little bit more so I can give my thoughts on it. But anyways, guys, that's been my review, sort of commentary on the Halo 5 campaign and story. I would love to know what you guys think if you've been playing the game, what you think about it so far. And let me know down below your thoughts and comments. So that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you again next time.